Interest rates going lower for longer. Reserve requirement ratios going down to single-digit levels. Sounds like the stage is set for a property boom. But with POGOs, now the biggest driver of growth in the sector, in danger of having its growth clip because of policy moves from China. What's the outlook for the sector now? We had a chance to sit down with the CFO of VisMin developer Cebu Landmasters, who recently bagged the 2019 Property Guru Award for Best Developer. Here's that interview. You're not in the POGO-driven Bay Area. Of course, the Bay Area is around 139,000 square meters of space dedicated to POGOs, but there's some 11,000 square meters dedicated to POGOs in Cebu.
Right.
Would you be one of those?
We are not one of those, and we have not relied on POGOs so far to deliver our growth.
So no exposure, minimal exposure to POGOs?
We have no exposure to POGOs currently.
Okay. Are you planning to change that anytime soon?
We're not planning to, and our office buildings that we're currently building up, we're not attracting or we're not relying on any POGO demands to have it filled up.
So if you're not depending on POGOs, who's driving your growth? Is it still OFW families?
Majority of our business is still in our bread and butter, which is in the housing category, both on the horizontal and vertical. But as we've expanded our business portfolio into offices, hotels, mixed use and townships with retail components, we've had a mix of tenants, BPOs being one of our strong sectors, OFW buyers for our housing developments. So we haven't had to rely on POGOs to deliver our growth and our business base.
I want to go to your two drivers. OFW families, the OFW remittances have been slowing, plateauing. Are you not worried that future prospects for sales to this segment will go flat as well?
So far, we have not seen any slowdown in the demand, and that's probably because of the backlog of housing demand, especially in the VisMin area. So even if it's slowed down, I think we're not in the marginal demand for now. We're still in the base demand where a lot of the housing backlogs that you see in the when the national statistics come out, that's where the backlog is. It's in VisMin area, and that's the demand that we're addressing.
And of course, you are primarily in the VisMin area.
That's right.
How many cities?
We're in 10 key VisMin cities already. All the biggest VisMin cities were there.
You know, there's always the notion that it's still the perception of businessmen, investors is Imperial Manila. Everything happens in Luzon. You have no projects in Luzon. Are you planning to move in anytime soon? I mean, Clark is a hot location these days.
Yeah, it's a great location, honestly. But so far, we do not have plans. And Michelle, nothing against Metro Manila or Luzon for that matter. I love the growth prospects in some of the areas. But what we can't be denied is that there is a saturation risk already, especially inside Metro Manila. Number one. And number two, if you ask any national real estate player, they're also looking for growth in the VisMin areas already.
So safe to say that you won't be doing any advanced land banking in areas, perhaps outside of Metro Manila and Clark. I just have to push on Clark because everybody talks about Clark these days. I mean, PhilInvest, for example, now the darling stock of investors, primarily because of their Clark Drive. It's not too late for land banking because currently they're at 99,000 per square meter, still cheaper than Cebu at 250 to 350,000 per square meter, or Davao at 195 to 220.
The land prices you mentioned are, of course, in the most prime districts of Davao and Cebu for that matter. But if you go out and develop in the countryside, where really the horizontal developments can be put up, then you're looking at land prices of really anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 per square meter. So it's still very affordable to do it there. So yes, no plans yet to expand in Clark. We've been offered, by the way. But once again, we ask ourselves the question, do we have the right supplier connections, contractor connections? Do we know the right people to deliver the projects there? Do we know the market there as well as we know the market in VisMin? And if the answer is not yet a firm yes, then we'd rather compete in a place where we can still see blue skies growth and lots of opportunities to grow.
Let's talk about the interest rate environment. Last year, we saw a very aggressive 175 basis point increase in interest rates. And then this year, they're starting to wind it down. Did this hit the company from your end and from your buyer's end?
From the company, it affected the company only so slightly because we actually raised 5 billion pesos in corporate notes actually when interest rates started to come down already. So it was still relatively high, but we were able to raise, for example, 10-year money at 6.25%.
How about from the buyer side? Because whenever they take out loans, the loans become more expensive.
Right. We did not feel or we did not see the impact, at least for our class of buyers, with that increase. Because the banks, for the most part, they're still very liquid. And so in order to be competitive with our end users as well, they didn't raise interest rate prices that much. And just to bring home the point, because even if you raise prices, let's say from 6 to 7% on a home mortgage side, once you spread it out for 15 years, the monthly amortizations won't make too much of a difference for the end user buyer.
Okay, so let's talk about the government's Build, Build, Build program. Have you benefited? Because when President Duterte came into power, you know, that was the expectation. He is going to decentralize growth.
Right.
Growth will finally trickle down to Visayas and Mindanao through infrastructure.
Right.
Did you feel this? Are
Yes,
there
we did.
specific land banks that you have that have seen prices shoot up already or benefiting from infrastructure?
Yes, we have. And that is why one of our biggest growth areas is in Davao. It happens to be the president's hometown. We have a 22-hectare township there, which coincidentally is actually adjacent to the president's property. Mayor Sara Duterte herself actually did the groundbreaking of our property. So we're very bullish on countryside development. And you know, a lot of administrations talked a good game about countryside development, but I must say that this administration has really put their money where their mouth is.
So that's the good point.
That is the good point.
Here is the not so good point. You ask anybody building homes today, and they're going to say, we have a shortage of construction workers. Is that the same case? Are you feeling the same thing?
Ironically, we stand to be almost the beneficiary of that because a lot of these workers actually come from VisMin. And so now our value proposition, when we talk to the contractors, to our to our general contractors, we tell them, tell your laborers that there's no need to go to Metro Manila if they're looking for a stable job prospect with continuous projects in the next couple of years. We have felt a little bit some of that labor shortage and slowdown, but it's a good thing because that only means that a lot of developers are bullish on building in the Philippines. But I think that we're not going to be one of the first to be affected by it. And so far, we've managed our labor situation very, very well.
So this company is 15 years old,
That's
3
right.
years as a listed company. In fact, you worked on the IPO
Yes,
from
I did,
the banking
Michelle.
side.
That's right.
Maybe you love the company so much you jumped ship. You moved to the company now as a CFO. Grant, let's talk about the stock price.
Of course.
Because investors are probably watching and saying, I bought this stock 3 years ago at 5 pesos. Now the stock is trading below that, slightly below that.
Correct.
Do you think this is undervalued, and why do you think so?
Let the numbers speak for themselves. When Cebu Landmasters went public in 2017, they just announced 2016 numbers of 780 million pesos of net income. In 2018, we announced 1.67 billion pesos of net income, double of that what we did in 2016. And our stock price is trading below our IPO price. So whether that's a matter of timing, whether that's a matter of maybe liquidity flows and macroeconomic issues, foreign buying, our price is below that when we went public, yet our net income is almost 3 times where it was.
What's
in
your PE
2016.
ratio, forward PE ratio?
Our forward PE ratio, based on the guidance that we gave, is less than 4, about 3.8 times.
That's pretty cheap.
Well, I'll let the market decide for themselves, and hopefully it will manifest
Could
in the
it
stock.
be Imperial Manila perception again? Investors are here, the big guns are here.
Right.
And there you are in VisMin.
Again, we're there because that's where our natural advantages are. That's where we compete the best.
Final question.
Of course.
Less than 2% of your income comes from rental, from recurring income.
Correct.
Okay. What is the goal? What is your goal? What is the number to hit by a certain period of time? I know that having recurring income, a strong recurring income
Correct.
is good because it's
Correct.
stable.
It stabilizes our cash base.
Exactly.
Correct.
So what is the goal? And eventually, are you looking at offering REITs or real investment trust funds?
Okay.
real estate investment?
Yeah, I love that question because when we went public in 2017, that is one of the most important things our investors told us as a feedback. They said, Cebu Landmasters, you have to build your recurring income portfolio to round and to become a more well-rounded real estate developer and to stabilize your cash generation. And so we told them, we're aiming to build up our recurring income portfolio. And I can tell you now that our goal is to have 10% of our top-line revenues come from recurring income assets by 2023. And so, Rome wasn't built in a day. We didn't acquire recurring income projects. We built them using our IPO proceeds and corporate notes proceeds in 2017 and 2018. So 2019, 2020, 2021, that's when they'll come online and you will see the results start manifesting in our financial
Final question,
statements.
are you looking to raise more money, tap the equities market, the bond market perhaps?
Yes, we are. We're targeting the first quarter of next year. And your question on the REITs, by the way, it's something we're looking very closely at. Right now, not yet. We do not yet have assets mature enough to go into REITs, but it's a great vehicle. I love the fact that we're moving towards it. And 3 or 4 years down the road, it's definitely something we're going to seriously look at.
For first quarter next year, how much are you looking to raise?
About 5 to 7 billion pesos. We haven't decided yet whether it's in the form of debt or equity, but you'll hear from us.
Okay, on that note, thank you very much, Grant, for joining us. To watch more ANC videos, subscribe to the official ANC YouTube channel and click the bell button for more updates.